Ooh, that burst damage sometimes is wild. You're playing on Zane now, but hell, it looks way stronger than mine. Is Zane's damage always nuts like this, or are you just set up to one-clip bosses? If you have the right gear, Zane's damage is always crazy like this, but I am only set up for bosses right now. I can do okay against mobs, but I am optimized for killing bosses right now. May I see your skill tree? Sure. First though, I mean, before I go over the skill tree, I just want to highlight the 4 items you need to do this. The rest of them really are irrelevant. Well, I guess it's 5 items. Only been playing Borderlands 3 for a few weeks, and I haven't played anything other than Moze yet. I like Moze, but she's kind of weak right now compared to Amara, Zane, and Flak. So I haven't really played her in a while, but Moze is okay. My biggest issue with Moze is I just don't like Iron Bear, so I don't really play her. But the 5 pieces of gear that are making this so effective. We'll start with, well, what do we start with here? We'll start with the class mod. So if you play Zane, this is the class mod you're going to need, period, end of story. Kind of like the driver. And if you read it, whenever Zane damages an enemy with his weapon, he has a chance to automatically activate all of his kill skills. And they're 25% more effective. All you have to do is damage, and you proc his kill skills. That's insane. So on top of that, it gives decent bonuses, and I have one that's pretty good. SMG damage and magazine size, pretty good. This could be even better if it had gun damage or crit damage on it, but I've got a pretty good one. Obviously, we're using the Cutsman as our main SMG. This one's anointed, but I'm not getting any bonuses. It's a terror anointed one, so that's irrelevant. I'm not getting any bonuses from that. So we empty the clip with our Cutsman, and we switch to our Unforgiven to get this crit damage bonus. As long as we switch to our Unforgiven before the projectiles land, we will get this 432% crit damage buff. So that's one of the big keys here, is you empty the clip with this, swap to this. The other 2 things that are important, first is the sellout. So you can see there it's flashing between incendiary and corrosive damage. The percent chance to ignite or melt is it's 72. So if you shoot it twice at your feet, you're going to set yourself on fire, or you're going to put corrosive damage on yourself. And why that's important is because it procs our elemental projector. So when we're suffering elemental damage, we get increased damage with the same element. So we're getting a 90% damage boost because of this artifact. And what's cool about my sellout is I got this during my first playthrough, so it's only level 26. So it's doing like next to no damage to me. All it has to do is set me on fire and I'm good to go. But, you know, you can see it's 65 times 3. Like, that's nothing. So I did this on my normal playthrough and I was level 26 at the time, so I got a level 26 one. So that's it. Those 5 items is pretty much what this build is. And the skill points can be moved around a bit. Kind of like the exploit with the Lady Fist back in Borderlands 2. I'm not familiar with that, but I know there was like something with the Ahab and fast hands when you were on 0. You could do something similar. Skill tree wise, I guess I can show you what I'm using. I feel like it's pretty similar to what most people are using right now. Hold up, may I see your artifact again? Yeah, I can show it again really quick. So the important part here is not the loaded dice. I'm just using a loaded dice because it gives me more luck, so I get more drops. The important part is the elemental projector. So, and I've got a pretty good one. Mag size, accuracy, and corrosive damage is pretty good. But that's specifically for farming bosses. I probably wouldn't use a loaded dice for stuff like the slaughter shaft or other like mob related things like the takedown. But going back to the skills, like I think this is pretty standard for Zane's right now. So starting with red, we have 5 points in here. It's 20% per active action skill. We're using Barrier and Sentinel. We pretty much have them up all the time, so that's a 40% buff to gun damage at all times, which is pretty wild. We have 5 points in Donnybrook as well, which it's a kill skill, and if we refer back to our class mod, we can proc kill skills just by doing damage, so we don't actually have to kill anything. And we get this bonus gun damage and health regeneration. I don't really care about the health regeneration, but the gun damage is more important, especially because it stacks twice. So we get 2 stacks of this, and our gun damage is 54%, and it lasts 15 seconds. So I'm getting 1 extra point in here from my class mod, so it's a little higher, but these two are actually very strong, and there's not really a good reason to go any further than that in this tree. Green tree, 5 points and ready for action. There's no specific reason why you would use this over something else, but of our choices, I mean, I'd rather have this than action skill cooldown rate, just because our action skills stay up a lot, and I don't think this is very effective. I'd much rather have a bit more sustain with the recharge rate and delay. So 5 points to get down to here. Then we put 5 points in Brain Freeze. Again, this is kind of optional. If you want more sustain, you could put it in Rise to the Occasion for more health regeneration, but I don't think you need it. I really don't, because he kills things so fast. I don't think you need extra health regen. So I think you're a lot... you're more better off doing this. So, I mean, it is nice because you slow enemies without doing cryo damage. So, it can make it easier to do mobbing stuff because everything gets slowed, which is cool. So, and then we put 1 point in Confident Competence because you're getting extra gun damage and accuracy while your shields are active. And this is why I mentioned that the recharger is really important for Zane. I think might be your best option. It's one of the best options, I think. Because the way the recharger works is when it breaks, it immediately goes back up to full. And that has a 20-second cooldown, I believe. Yeah, 20-second cooldown. So it says instantly begins recharging when broken, but what it actually means is it goes back to full the second it's broken. So your shield stays full a lot of the time, so you're getting a lot of this gun damage. It says up to 35%, so you're getting that 35% most of the time. You're also getting accuracy, which isn't as important, but... Blue tree, there's a lot of flexibility here. The things that I would say you probably want to do for sure, you want the 5 points in violent speed, you want the 5 points in violent momentum, because, those synergize really well together. On this row, it's a little flexible. You can do different things, like you get reload speed here, and you get lifesteal here. If you want more sustain, you could put more points here, and less in Cool Hand. If you want faster reload speed, you could put more points in Cool Hand. So it's kind of a preference. But you want this point in Drone Delivery so that your Sentinel procs your grenade. And the grenade you want is one with this Anointed perk. So when the grenade is thrown, you get the 25% damage buff. And your drone can proc that. So your Sentinel can throw out a grenade and you get that 25% buff. Ideally, you'd use the grenade called It's Piss, and I actually have one. This guy. Because enemies that get hit by this are debuffed for 20%. So it's more damage, but I don't have an Anointed It's Piss, so I figure this is essentially more damage, 5% more. Ion Cannon and Crit Swap can basically one-shot Grave Ward. Yeah, not even basically, you can. So back to the blue tree. Kill skills gain increased effect and duration. Since you're proccing all of your kill skills, this is really important to have as well. And then once you get down to Violent Violence, I would say probably at least 4 points. I think I have 4 points in this, and then I'm getting 1 from my class mod. The more important one, I would say, is Playing Dirty. 5 out of 5, I think, gives you a 90% bonus. Or excuse me, maybe it's 75%. But you can see I have 7 out of 5, and that's because of my class mod. And I have an extra shot chance of 105%. So, you know, all of the shots will have an extra projectile. So this is essentially a constant double damage buff, which is crazy. I have 2 points in Good Misfortune. Killing an enemy, you know, increases the action skill duration. So if you're mobbing and you're killing a lot of shit fast, then your action skills will stay up a lot. And 1 point in Seeing Red. And the only reason I put 1 point here is for bossing, because I can't necessarily proc all my kill skills right away, and I want to have them up the second I go into the fight. So you don't need this point here if you're doing like the takedown, for instance. You could take this 1 point and put it somewhere else that you think might be more effective. Like you could put it here, or you could put it here if you want, maybe in Cool Hand or Salvation. It's kind of a flex point. So that's my Zane setup, and like I said, I think it's pretty standard. My gear is really where I'm suffering. There's some pretty crazy setups you can do. Like, I know Moxie uses the Banjo artifact with the redistributor gun you can get from the takedown, and that has some crazy synergy. It kind of works like the Brainstormer in a way. But I don't have that, so this is specifically just for boss killing right now. But I reckon that pretty much does it. That's my setup for Zane right now. It's honestly really scuffed because none of my guns are giving me bonuses right now. So that's why I wanted to farm some more gear, because I kind of am only set up to be effective for killing bosses, and I'd like to be able to do stuff like the takedown where there's a lot of ads. So we'll get there, but this is what I'm using for now, and obviously it's working for what I need it for. But yeah, that's my Zane.